Hey everyone, it's Lainey. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a video coming to us from a talking hat, and this is nice students that snapped and killed their teachers. What the heck? Are these kids? Like, what is happening? I'm like so confused. Let's make sure to give a talking hat some love, and let's get right into it because I'm so curious. What is wrong with people?
The bad grade incident.
The bad grade
Willard
incident.
Miller was a casual, calm, and boring, but fairly nice student. While
What
attending
grade?
school in Fairfield, Iowa.
What grade
he took
is
a
this?
Spanish class with plans to pass and eventually study abroad
Spanish.
in Spain.
Okay.
Nohema Graber was a 66-year-old Spanish teacher who also attended Fairfield High School.
Okay, so
She
it's
had
a
been
high
teaching
school.
for years with a reputation for being firm but fair. But on November 2nd, 2021, she had just posted semester grades and one of her students was failing her class.
Okay, that
Student was
sucks.
Miller,
It really
and the
does.
bad grade put his academics standing at risk. With the failed class on his transcript, he would now never be able to travel abroad to Spain. Miller's
That's
mother
true.
showed up to Graber's class to have a meeting about his academic performance.
Okay,
They
the
sat
mom
for a
went.
while, shared concerns, made a couple of jokes, and then, well, that was it. The
What?
meeting went well for all three of them, and after they left, each individual went back to their home
Okay.
except for Graber. While on a daily walk at Chautauqua Park, she'd bump into Miller. Although she thought the student already went home, she'd wave hi to him. He smiled in return, and then he proceeded
As
to
he
smash
has
her
a
in the face
bat?
with a baseball bat as hard as he possibly could. Let's pause here for a second.
What?
You see, ever since Miller had failed his class in fall, other students reported that he began slowly making dark jokes about Graber just suddenly disappearing. These jokes slowly evolved into intentions when Miller was caught searching things on Google in regards to if students would be given an automatic pass in their class if their teacher passed away midterm. For some odd
He
reason,
looked
a
that
failed
up.
semester was enough to cause Miller to snap, and another student named Jeremy Goodale wanted to join him on his nefarious and ridiculously stupid mission to assassinate a teacher for his grades. At this point, you could probably guess what happened. Goodale stayed on watch as Miller struck the Spanish teacher again and again with a baseball bat, swinging as hard
Pure
as he could.
evil.
Although you would assume that this shameful atrocity was over, the two students didn't stop there.
What else did
Miller
they do?
handed the bat over to Goodale because she was still alive. They kept hitting her over and over again, fracturing her skull and causing irreparable damage. When they
Oh
finally
my
stopped,
gosh.
they dragged her body off the path, covered it with a tarp they'd brought specifically for this purpose. Then they took her van and drove it to a remote rural road to make her disappearance look random. Her body was discovered the next day by other park visitors. Shortly after her passing, Miller and Goodale were arrested within
Look at
days
them.
after saying things like, "That teacher failed the wrong students, and I caught a body with a bat." The two idiots
What
shamelessly
idiots
bragged about
to
their deed
even
until
brag
it landed
about
them in
it?
handcuffs. And, in April 2023, both pleaded guilty to their crimes. Miller received life with parole eligibility after 35 years. Goodale got life with parole after 25 years. There's something
Insane.
about failing students from schools that for some odd reason always brings out the worst in them. The overreaction incident. Abby Zwerner was a
I feel like these are all an
25-year-old first-grade
overreaction.
teacher at Rich Neck Elementary School in Newport News, Virginia.
It-
January 6th
elementary
started
school?
ordinarily like any other day. But one of her students, a boy who was 20 minus 14 years old, had been
20
acting up
minus
all morning.
14.
He'd get up
6?
repeatedly, disrupt the class, and ignore instructions. The guy was having a blast, but he was out of control, so Abby kept telling him to sit down. At
Yeah.
one point, frustrated by being told to sit down again, the fella threw his hands up in the air and yelled, "Fine." As his arms came down, he deliberately knocked the teacher's phone off her desk, shattering the screen. He had to send him to the office, and school policy required consequences for property damage. So he
Good.
was suspended and went home angry. His mother was
Good.
notified, but there was something the school administrators didn't know about. The family kept a loaded, pew-pew at home, and the boy knew exactly where it was.
Oh, it's just in the
After
kitchen
serving
junk
suspension,
drawer.
He returned to school.
It's not in a
Security
safe
didn't thoroughly
locked.
search his pockets because they seemed too
People
small
are
to
so
hold anything
dumb.
dangerous. And besides, what possible threat could someone as small as him actually pose? He walked into Verna's classroom while she helped another
Oh my
student. She looked up
gosh.
and saw him standing there in the doorway. Suddenly, he pulled out the weapon, and before she could react,
Oh my god, with kids right there?
pew pew. I probably can't talk too deeply about this on YouTube, but she was struck directly in the chest. The other students screamed, and the perp dropped his weapon and quickly ran out of the class. Sverna was rushed to the hospital. She survived the attack, but the injury
She
caused
did?
permanent damage to her spine since fragments remained permanently lodged
She
near it.
survived? I
Doctors
would never
determined that
teach
it'd be
again.
too dangerous to remove without risking paralysis. The little guy couldn't be charged due to his age, but his mother, Deja Taylor, was later charged and received 3
they could
years
charge
and 9
him.
months for felony neglect.
They need to charge him.
Lerner resigned from teaching after the attempt on her life.
I would too.
She's spoken publicly about suffering from PTSD and being unable to return to the classroom, and later on filed a $40 million lawsuit against the school district.
Good.
Claiming administrators
I hope
had
she
ignored
won.
warnings from staff members about the weapon. A first-grade teacher
But
was
she should have.
because she
The
told them to
parents
sit
should have
down.
also been held
Madness.
way more
bullied-
responsible. Oh my
Noel
gosh.
Stevens was a young man
Bullied
attending
kid.
school in the Bronx in New York. For months, he had been living in absolute hell. A group of older boys had been tormenting him relentlessly. They'd call him names
hate
and shove him
bullies.
into lockers between classes. They would also follow him home and stand outside his building.
Bullies are
laughing
like the
and threatening.
lowest of the low people.
Sometimes
Like, you
they
know,
urinated on his
their
front door,
self-confidence
forcing his
is
family to
so
clean it up
crappy that
while
they
his
have
younger
to, like,
siblings watched.
take out their misery
Noel
on
told
other
teachers and
people.
administrators what was happening. Still, nothing changed.
Like,
The
if you're
bullies
so
became
much
more
better than
aggressive,
these
with the
people,
main
why are
one
you
being
wasting
Timothy
your life
Chalamet.
and time on them?
Timothy Crump, yeah.
Timothy
He was bigger and stronger than
Chalamet.
Noel, and genuinely enjoyed watching Noel flinch. On June 18th,
I want to know why that one was
2014,
brown and that one
Timothy
was
and his
white.
friends
Why
surrounded
is
Noel
that?
Again. But this time, Tim started throwing punches,
Good.
striking Noel
Defending
in his chest
himself.
and ribs as he tried defending himself. His bully was too strong, Noel was overpowered, and immediately went down. Other students gathered around filming on their phones as they watched him get beaten to a pulp.
Yeah,
And
let's
once
just
again,
take out our
just
phones
like
and
the
record
police,
instead
and
of
just like
helping.
the teachers, no one stepped in to intervene. It was at this moment that something inside Noel snapped. He'd started carrying a knife for protection and intimidation after months of harassment, never planning to actually use it. But in
Can
that
you
moment,
blame him?
Noel saw red. He pulled out the hidden weapon and fought back, completely catching his bully
Can
by
you
surprise,
blame him?
and he attacked him.
They're literally
Timothy
beating
tried to
his
get
ass.
away, but there was no chance. He eventually passed away, and Noel was arrested by the police for second-degree murder. But extensive evidence of bullying emerged. Text
Good.
messages, witness statements, and security footage showed previous attacks, allowing his charge to be reduced. Noel pleaded guilty and received 18 months in juvenile detention and 5 years probation.
I don't know
The
how I
Jewel.
feel about that. I really don't know.
Chen Zihan was a Chinese student in Guizhou province, and like Noel, he had also been bullied relentlessly for years by the same group of boys. The main bully was a student named Li Hao. He was bigger and more aggressive than Chen.
They're always
And
bigger.
for reasons that were never really entirely
They're always
clear,
the
he'd
big
beat him
ones that
regularly,
are the
take
bullies.
his money, and humiliate him publicly. Chen tried telling his teachers about the attacks.
And they
but
don't
nonetheless,
listen.
Again
Ever.
and again, Li Hao kept seeking
God.
him out. And on April 30th, Li Hao and several gang friends cornered
look how
Chen
big he
in an
is.
alleyway near school after classes ended. But this time felt different from the usual beatings. Li Hao pulled out a knife and then handed it to Chen. "We're going to have a one-on-one knife fight," he shouted loudly to his friends. Chen thought it was a bluff or just another twisted form of psychological manipulation. But he was being dead serious. Li Hao's friends immediately formed a tight circle around them both, blocking any possible escape routes. All of their faces were stern. None of them were joking. Chen had never held a knife as a weapon. He was terrified to even grab it. His hands were shaking
Oh
uncontrollably.
no.
Li Hao became excited, as if this were entertainment. "Pick it up," Li Hao ordered. Surrounded by enemies, Chen listened and picked up the knife with trembling hands. Then the fight started immediately. Li Hao lunged forward aggressively. He was used to knife fights like these, and to him,
Why?
Chen was fresh meat.
He's used to
Li Hao
knife
slashed and
fights.
stabbed at Chen, scarring and injuring the young man. He kept slashing away at him until everything went black. Chen thought he faded out of consciousness, but in reality, the young man cracked. His survival instincts took over, he stopped thinking about what he was doing, and he just reacted on pure adrenaline and fear.
What
To
happened?
Li Hao's complete surprise, the nerd he once thought was an easy target began
he-
overpowering him.
he stabbed the
and
guy?
enraged, adrenaline-pumped Chen had now pushed past Li Hao's swipes and unleashed a vicious attack on the bully with the small knife he had. In the blink of an eye,
Holy.
the fight was over. Chen was picked up by emergency services for his injuries, but the same couldn't be said for Li Hao. The wounds Chen left on him were so severe that he passed away before the ambulance could even arrive. In China,
Sucks.
self-defense rarely ends successfully in the court system. Chen was arrested and charged with intentional injury resulting in one's passing, and during his trial, his lawyers argued that he was forced to participate in the fight against his will. They said that he acted purely in self-defense after years of systematic bullying. But nonetheless, Chen was sentenced to 8 years in prison.
Oh,
His case sparked
shoot.
intense national debate in China about school bullying, victim responsibility, and whether students fighting back should be held criminally liable. I know these last two stories were about students fighting other students rather than teachers, but nonetheless, I still thought they were important to include. If you're being bullied, please tell someone who will actually listen and take action.
Tell anyone.
Ignored, keep on telling different people until someone helps you. And if you see someone being bullied, speak up. Don't just stand there filming it on your phone for social media.
I hate that.
Help out a fellow human, because even though it might not seem like it, bullying can change the lives of those involved forever. Be human, be kind to the people around you, and remember, those who are truly strong stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves.
Yes.
With that being said, have a happy day.
Nice students who snapped and killed their teachers or their bullies. That's why you don't bully people. Don't bully people. Come on. Make sure to go show a talking hat some love. And if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys on the next one.